Hey Marco, good to see you again. How are
Hey
you?
Leah, I'm good, thanks. My pleasure. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, I wanted to catch up with you today because you've been busy. Well, it's very exciting what you've been up to. So you've developed a new app for the home prescriber. So that's really exciting. I wanted to talk to you about that today.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, tell us everything what you've been up to. Obviously, for those of you who have been following Similia and also Rubric Wise, we've been talking obviously about your professional software for some time. But now you've kind of created this bridge for people who are home prescribers who, maybe are newer to homeopathy. So tell us all about it.
So we've been working on it a little bit less than 1 year, I think, and we released it since a few months, but we kept it really under the radar just to get some feedback, early feedbacks and improvements, improve it with the feedback. But yeah, basically the Similia Home Prescriber, it's a native app for iPhone and Android. And it's aimed at home prescribers, so not professionals, not homeopaths, doctors, or students, but just regular people that like homeopathy, and
Mm.
maybe they have a kit at home, and for acute cases, they use homeopathy, and so this is a tool, an app to facilitate the choice of the remedy in those acute situations.
Yeah, and it is a little different. So it's just on the phone, right? It's not a web-based app. Is it just a phone, like a
Yeah,
native phone app?
exactly. It's only native, and I think it will stay there because I mean, it's in a way it's quite a simple. I mean, I think it's powerful because like all the how it finds the remedy. There's a whole orchestration behind it, but as an app, it's quite simple. Like you ask you tell the symptoms, and then you are asked some questions to differentiate, and then you are suggested the remedy, and with the explanation of why, and also which other remedies were considered and why they were not picked, and like a micro materia medica, we call it, with some informations of the remedy that came up.
Hmm. And so the information that's in there came from provings, or where did you get all of the information that you have in there? So
Uh,
Hahnemann, Berkey.
Yeah, that's all based on the public domain literature. Like the classic books.
Yeah.
Um, Also cases, the public cases, especially, those ones from the old authors, Kant, Clark, Lip.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's based, it kind of uses both the repertory and the materia medica
Hmm.
behind. But yeah, to the user, it's just like a very easy experience of just telling the symptoms and answering a few questions and getting to the remedy.
Yeah, and it's primarily from what I could see, it's more like the classical, the polycrest or the well-known remedies that people have at home that they can use.
Yeah, actually, yeah, exactly. That's an important thing to concede to say is that I think probably we support around 100 or a bit more remedies. So really like the main polycrests and the some smaller remedies, but which are really important and famous for acute situations. And one interesting thing is that when you start using the app, you are asked if you have a kit at home. And
I
so
saw that, yeah. Great.
we got the biggest pharmacies kit and some other smaller ones, and we are constantly adding those new ones in case someone contact us and they want their kit in there. We add it happily. And
Mhm.
so when you pick the kit you have, you can decide like to only be suggested remedies from that kit.
Okay.
So what happens, obviously, maybe in some situations there is a remedy that it's more similar, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. And so basically the algorithm go on the second best choice of what you have
Exactly.
uh, that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the best remedy is the one that you have, right? If you don't have it at home. But it's really helpful because when I worked through it, I was looking and, obviously you put in, what's going on. And I think what is different about your app and some of the other home prescriber apps is you are just really kind of saying it, saying in your own language what's happening. And then the system is clever enough that it can work through that and then ask you the clarifying questions that, as if you were in an acute consultation, for example, a homeopath might ask you, is it better with heat? Is it better with pressure? All those kind of qualifying questions that would lead you to a remedy choice. And of course, there's a lot that goes into acute care, and we have our remedies at home, and we can do a lot with the remedies we have at home. Sometimes cases go beyond that, and we need professional help. But for the home prescriber who's just starting out and they have like a child at home screaming with an earache, they can go on there and just get those kind of clarifying questions to really hone in on which remedy is going to help in the moment, and then if it doesn't progress after that, then they can seek further help. So I really love that it does kind of move them beyond the initial. It moves them into those questions so they can make the right decisions. And then what I really liked about it is that while it's loading, it's popping up with little tidbits of homeopathic information, so that was pretty cool. um, so when do you think, well, I guess what was the impetus for creating an app for home prescribers? Where did that come from, that idea?
Well, I guess we thought, I mean, yeah, there are, as you mentioned before, some other apps which are quite manual. Like it's usually it's like a tree menu, like you start from cough and then maybe, okay, you have a dry cough or a wet cough, but it's quite like a work in a way. So yeah, I guess the idea was that with the technology we have available today, we thought that we could create a new product that would be helpful for the home prescribers, which in a way, like a lot of kits, they come with a kind of a mini materia medica.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea is that to have an extension of that and a way to find a more precise remedy. Because, some situation, maybe it's really clear, like, I don't know, the classic chamomilla teething. You read the little book and it's that one and it's going to work.
Yeah.
It's the correct one. But other times, like with a fever, you are undecided. Is it going to be aconite? Is it going to be belladonna or pulsatilla? And yeah, you read the book, but still you cannot decide. The app, the idea is that it helps people in this way. And yeah, I think the home prescriber, like the home prescribers, in a way, it's like a gateway into real homeopathy, like, because obviously, with home prescribing, you can get help with acute ailments, but with chronic treatments, you can really like experience the magic, the power, life-changing stories of homeopathy. And so, yeah, I think it's a great way of getting into that. So, yeah, I think it's really important to help to have better results, good results, to then, make homeopathy grow.
Yeah. Well, and I think, a well-managed acute often will um, prevent the need, well, not necessarily prevent, but there's if an acute is managed well in the moment, like an acute shock or an acute sickness or cough, or it kind of helps prevent it moving into a chronic case, and obviously we do have chronic cases, and working with a homeopath is helpful in those situations if rather than necessarily home prescribing. But if something's well managed in that situation, it may not even turn into a chronic case. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So what was your thought in terms of when you built this app? What did you deliberately leave out that might be in professional software, for example? Because I think there's a difference, it's quite a big jump to go straight into professional software if you're not familiar with it, because the language is old, the technology, obviously we have our books and we can flick through Kent and there's lots of different chapters, but understanding and learning those chapters takes time. We have hand repetition, we have, we can learn from those books, but I think what you've done with this app is that, being able to just explain it in clear language, it takes away the need for flicking through Kent at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to deal with an earache. So is there anything that you would say, obviously we have our professional software and it takes a bit of time to learn. Is there anything you left out that you wanted to keep it more simple for the home prescriber who is newer to homeopathy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess, I mean, so in a way, there are similarities because under the hood, it still uses the repertory and the materia medica, which are never shown to the user.
Hmm.
So yeah, the idea was to keep it as simple as possible. So yeah, something that anyone that without any knowledge about rubrics, even materia medica, they've never heard of it, they can
Hmm.
just describe the symptoms and get help. That was really the aim. Yeah, the jump from the home prescriber up to the professional Similia Homeopathy Software, it's quite big. Yeah, I think I mean maybe some home prescribers, like if they get so interested in it, they might start trying the professional software as well. But I would guess that most of the people that do the jump, they are the one that actually will start studying homeopathy, like as well. Maybe they sign up at a school, a college, and so
Hmm.
then it would be like the normal transition to also start using a software.
Yeah. And there are many people who prescribe at home that have never been to school, but they know so much about homeopathy and rubrics. And, I think, yeah, it's amazing that you have your professional software because you also have the free option with all the classical repertories. So, I mean, that is kind of another step into learning rubrics. And we should probably clarify for anyone who is new to homeopathy what a rubric is, right? So it's a symptom, and a repertory is a category, a catalogue of symptoms that we can pull together, that different remedies represent those symptoms, and then we can pull them into what we call materia medica, where people can read about them. So when you in your app, once people they land on a remedy, it actually opens up materia medica to read all about it, right? So they can learn as they're prescribing whatever they're going to prescribe.
Yeah, in the home prescriber, we call it micro materia medica. So I
Uh-huh.
guess, yeah, it's a great way of like getting into the more advanced. And it's like, so when you get the kind of suggestion, you get the reasoning of why, and then you can click a button to see the micro materia medica. So like for people that want to dig deeper, learn more. And I think, yeah, that can be a great way to starting getting more into the mindset of getting more information, getting to know the materia medica, which then maybe could lead to being interested in trying the professional software.
Hmm. Yeah, so as homeopaths, I mean, we have the repertory we go through, we learn what the client or the person is saying in front of us, and we try and take those symptoms and put them into the 200-year-old language. And so what I like about obviously your professional software is you have that semantic search that we've talked about in previous videos, which is basically where um, they can put natural language in and the system is actually converting it into the closest matching rubric. And I think, any homeopath who's used your system is really enjoying that. That's all the feedback I get all the time, that semantic search is huge and such a game changer for us. Now, where was I going with this? Yeah, so I think, once I've lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before? Um, yeah, so that's obviously the bridge once you get into the professional software and people can start using it. But for the home prescriber, they're learning about the materia medica, they're learning about the remedies. And then as they get more advanced into, wanting to use repertory and figuring out what rubrics match the symptoms, we do have, I mean, I have like repertory, a handwritten repertory worksheet that they can use, which is similar to what you have in the system, but it's more of a manual process. So a lot of people come to homeopathy through that through the manual repertorization process, and then they go into more the professional software. Um, what else were we going to talk about with the app itself? Is there anything you want to talk about in terms of how it works, how people sign up, what they need to do? They just download it from the App Store.
Yeah, it's well, we have like a kind of a landing page with a bit of information at homeprescriber.similia.io, which then also has the links for both stores, either the App Store or the Google Play Store. And so yeah, you can download it for free, and there is one free use available. And then after the free use, there is a paywall. So to use the app is $9.99 per month, and similar prices in other currencies in other parts of the world. And we have the annual subscription, which gives 2 months for free. So it's going to be $99.99 per year.
Okay. And then you gave a code to Rubric Wise readers for a 7-day free trial, which is great. So if they type in WISE7, WISE7, that gives them a 7-day free trial just to go in and play around, look around, and see how it is.
Yeah, those 7 days you can use it like unlimitedly. So yeah, it's a great way to make sure that you like it and that you get the results that you want.
And I'm just pulling it up here. So I had a couple of, I was playing around with it, and there's a couple of analyses in there. So it will keep a history of everything that you've pulled, and how long does that stay in there?
So there are called the recent charts or analysis. Well, yeah, they're called analysis actually. I'm checking it right now as well. Yeah, they stay there forever basically. So they are well, yeah. One thing I forgot, it's like the first time you download the app, you create an account for free using either like your email or Apple login or Google sign up. And so yeah, then every time you do an analysis, it gets saved in your account, and you can access it again and see yeah, all the data from that analysis, and it stays as long as you want. Otherwise, if you want, you can delete it. But yeah, otherwise it's there in the history.
What I didn't see, which maybe it's me, is there a way to assign that to a person's name, or have you deliberately kept that out? Like, for example, there's a mom at home and she's got 5 kids and she's doing different cases for each one. Do you assign them to a person, or is it meant to be more just general for finding remedies?
Yeah, at the moment it is more general. So basically, you just type your symptoms, and there is no way of tracking like if yeah. But actually, I never thought about it, but I think it's definitely something that can be considered to add. So
Yeah.
yeah, like Similia, we constantly like work on it, trying to improve anything we can improve or adding new features. Obviously, this is quite simpler than Similia, so like
Yeah.
we're not as productive feature-wise compared to Similia, but yeah, this could be actually a great idea to implement.
Yeah. Yeah, just a thought because sometimes there are multiple cases in one household, they've all got different symptoms and require a different remedy. As we know, homeopathy is so individualized. But yeah, I mean, obviously, that moves into more of the professional software once you start to build cases and you want history and things like that. This is really more for in the moment, when that acute care need strikes in the middle of the night or whenever it usually happens. Um, okay, so we got, yeah, history in there. We've got the profile. You can do light and dark theme. You can see the history of your what you've pulled so far. There's not a way in here to, to read about remedies. That's really more in the professional software, right? With the Materia Medica.
Yeah, exactly. So the Micromateria Medica is only available inside an analysis for the remedy that comes up in that specific analysis. Because actually, basically, how it works is that it's not like a generalized Materia Medica, but
Yeah.
it's a Materia Medica, so it's information matched to that specific situation. So it's, I don't know, let's say it's belladonna case, and there is fever, but there is no headache, maybe. So it's not going to talk about the headache. It's but only yeah, what is matching with the case, basically.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else in the works? Is anything else we should be excited about, either in the pro or the do you call it the pro or professional? What do you call the main Similia? How do you differentiate them, I guess, so we're clear in how I'm talking about them? I call it
Yeah, well,
Similia.
yeah, I call it like homeopathy software, like, but it's quite long, so probably we need some, yes, maybe Similia Pro as an abbreviation, but yeah, like when I use the longer names, it's like Similia Homeopathy Software and the Similia Home Prescriber.
Prescriber, yeah. Because within the homeopathy software, you also have the free and then the professional, which has more of the updated materia medica.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I know we've talked before about the professional software and the semantic search and what, what's included, and we can do another video perhaps in the future, but I wanted to keep this one focused more on the home prescriber. Let's see, is there anything else that we've missed that I didn't talk about with the home prescriber app?
We covered everything. Yeah, I mean, it's in a way, it's quite simple. Like it does one thing, but yeah, hopefully it does it well. That's what we really put all our effort on, because yeah, in the end, I think it's the kind of app that it needs to work. It needs to suggest the correct remedy that the people at home use it and see the results. So that's where we put all our focus in those months of working. But yeah, then it's quite easy. Like there's no so many things.
Yeah, and I think there's one point to make there that, obviously with the advance of AI, people can go into ChatGPT and they say, give me a remedy for this, that, and the other. But, this is built in mind of, published works that are already, classical literature. It's got it all inbuilt, so you're not going to get, a random AI answer that may be coming through ChatGPT, for example. So yeah, I think that's amazing that, it's pulling and it's helping you differentiate, and that's the difference between just searching on the internet, what might work for this. Because we know homeopathy has its little nuances, and two remedies can look very similar, but there may be modalities which are things that make something better or worse, that can really decide between one remedy over another. So, having this as a point of truth, really, because of what is built on in the background, is really helpful for the home prescriber.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to understand like the difference, because yeah, a lot of people could think like, okay, but I can do the same in ChatGPT, and which actually while we were working at the algorithm, it's something that we tested ourselves, like can we be better than ChatGPT? Because otherwise, maybe if ChatGPT was good, there was like not even the need to do it. But I think there are two different aspects. So first of all is the user experience. So, in ChatGPT, it's an LLM, it's very wide, and it's very depending on prompting. So, sometimes if you don't ask the question correctly, you can even really end up on a far tangent and not really get what you want. And then the other thing is that if you don't know homeopathy well, so for example, this thing of differentiating and even prompting, because so if you do a good prompt, ChatGPT will probably ask you differentiating questions, but otherwise it will not. While our app is structured to always obviously ask the differentiating questions, which are, I mean, unless, sometime like it can happen actually in the app that if you give so good information that it's really matching one remedy, you don't get any questions. You just get the remedy suggestion. It means that it was enough information for the algorithm to be completely sure that that was the correct remedy. So yeah, one thing is really the user experience, where here we kept it really simple. You tell the symptoms, then you get asked a question with like usually 4 or 5 different answers. And if no answer is really matching well, you can either say don't know to basically skip that one, or you can also type your own custom answer in case you want to even specify something better. So yeah, I think that's something really important. So this kind of user experience compared to ChatGPT, and then for sure also the sources. So I guess if you use it well, ChatGPT or Claude, those frontier LLMs, you can let them access kind of the similar work, similar resources that we use in the app. Because if you make a good prompt, you can say, search on the internet for Kant Materia Medica, LIP, blah, 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 and those are in the public domain, so they are available online without copyright for free, so it can search it, but you have to instruct it basically. Otherwise, it can definitely happen that you get hallucinations, information that are not correct. So yeah, that's well, with our application, obviously, it's always grounded in those reliable resources, and so there is no possibility of hallucinations or wrong information.
And there's nothing in here about dosing, potency. You've stayed away from all of that because every case is obviously individual and depends on the
Yeah.
vitality of the person and what's going on. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, well, we did something. I completely agree with you that definitely, like if you know a little bit, or if maybe you can get guidance, every case, every situation is different. But yeah, we added a little bit of information in case, for someone that is really new and like doesn't have any idea how to proceed. But yeah, basically what we did is that we added the same guidelines that major homeopathy brands they put in their tubes.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like
Recommend second.
yeah, 3 pellets. I don't know, 3 to 5 times a day, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, any advice for the home prescriber on, what happens if they give a remedy that's been suggested and it doesn't work? Next steps?
Yes. So I mean, actually, now that you say it, probably that is something that would be good to specify, because obviously, like as a homeopath, we give it for granted, but I think now that I think about it, it would be good to add this guideline as well. But so when you get a remedy, you also get other considered remedies. So yeah, if you've given a remedy, 3, 5 times in acute situations and you didn't see any response, it's not going to be the right remedy. And so, yeah, I guess, you have the other ones that have been considered that for sure it is something like the correct one might be in there, but also maybe trying again, yeah, trying to, I don't know, be more specific, adding more information then might lead to the correct remedy.
Yeah, I just pulled up the one that I did just as a test run. So I did like bloating, for example. So I pulled up China, and then it says, the reason when it was created. So that's what we have as the record, what the complaint was about. So that's what I chose. The reasoning as to why it was picked, and then the also consider section, and you have it by percentage, which is basically I'm guessing for the home prescriber, like this is the second best, this is the closest, this is kind of matches on a certain percentage. And then, but if those don't work, then these are your second, third, fourth potential choices based on the information that you've given. So this is what I have at home, this is what's in my kit. And they don't have to specify that, they don't have to restrict to just their kit if they have, and they may have access to a store that has the remedies close by. So yeah, that's really handy to give them that option. And then obviously, it's got the link to the Materia Medica underneath. But as I said earlier, if cases are uh, being prescribed for at home and there's no movement after a certain number of doses, it's always good to, reach out to a homeopath as needed, um, with acute cases as well. So awesome. Anything else that we can think of? You got anything else in the works that we should be excited about with Similia? Seems like you're very busy all the time.
Yeah, well, so yeah, we have some interesting ideas. Now we are focused on revamping the user interface. You might have noticed we launched the new dashboard in the professional software, and also the Materia Medica section, both the main Materia Medica and the Remedy one has been renewed with a hopefully better user interface, which gives more space to various elements and more information. And now
Mhm.
we are working at restyling the other sections, so the repertory, the whole case management, and the analysis as well. Then after that, so one thing we are working on it is the public share case. So the idea is to give a platform to homeopaths and students to publish a case.
Yeah,
Uh,
very good.
so obviously this happens in other, well, you have the scientific journal, but also you have like some blogs that they publish cases from homeopaths around the world.
Hmm.
So what we are building is a tool to facilitate the process of publishing a case. So, um, like, let's say that you have the case notes, scattered case notes. With this tool powered by AI, you can like it helps you reorganize them to in a way, in a presentable, well-organized case that can be published. And obviously, you already have your repertorizations in there. That usually, on published case, you often have repertorizations included.
Hmm.
And then this is something still like we are evaluating. We might do some tests or survey is the possibility to comment on other people cases. So in a way of even, a student could publish a case to actually not, like usually the published case are, like, oh, that great case from that great homeopath.
Right.
But like, of course, like that can be one of the option, but it could also be a platform for students to maybe, or even any homeopaths to get comments from other homeopaths.
Yeah.
And
Fabulous.
yeah, obviously there's the whole, like patient data, privacy, GDPR, IPA. So we are considering very well. But actually, it's also something we are thinking on implementing is like an automated anonymizing feature. So that maybe, change a few things so that the core of the case it's still good, but it's completely like unrecognizable,
Yeah.
and obviously no names, no reference, no anything. But yeah, obviously we also have like the kind of disclaimer that the homeopath, the user that decides to publish, they always have to make sure that they are respecting the regulation in the country they live in, they have the patient consents and so on.
Yeah. Amazing. Great. Well, thank you. It's been wonderful to catch up with you again and just to explore this new app. I was very excited to see that you got this launched, and I think it's going to be so helpful for all of our home prescribers. There's so many more people coming to homeopathy now and, learning as they go through that app, and they're getting all these little, what do they call it? The little notifications that pop up. They're just like little tidbits of homeopathy, as I noticed.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, I think yeah, there is a name, but I don't think I can remember now. Yeah, but yeah,
it's
there
like
are
a
like yeah
that comes, what's it
tips,
called?
maybe yeah tips, maybe
Yeah, tips. Yeah.
I guess it like some ones are like actual tips. So the one is like some history fact, like oh, did you know Hahnemann,
Right. Yeah.
like was born or like those kind of things.
Yeah. So they get to learn as they go. Amazing. All right. Any questions for me in terms of anything?
Well, I guess, do you have anything exciting coming up at Rubric Wise?
Rubric Wise? I'm building a lot of things behind the scenes. I'm waiting to launch a few things, but what I want to have is a framework for no matter where anybody's at in their repertory journey, that they can come in and be part of the I'm calling it the Wise Pathway, very original title, but so they will start, if they're brand new to homeopathy, they'll start at the welcome stage, which is the W. And then as they kind of move further in, there'll be an initiation type stage. It's like not an initiation, that sounds like a club. But the initiate stage is like where they're really kind of getting into, understanding more about what a repertory is, rubrics, cases, working through some of more of the acute cases and just really getting some day-to-day practice. And then as they get into the S, it's more like strengthening their work. Again, more case analysis, more of the day to day. This will be more targeted at like the student level, early level students, or those who are just kind of early in their practice. And then the established stage is the E of the WISE pathway, and that's more for the practitioner. So really, how we can focus on case analysis and more depth into understanding rubrics and more collaboration with other homeopaths and things like that. So, yeah, a lot of things in the works, but I really want to have some documentation and projects around, like, for those who are brand new into homeopathy, home prescribers, just to really kind of learn about what it's all about. How do you go from taking an app like yours where you're searching for symptoms to then, if you do decide you want to study homeopathy, like how do you get into like figuring out how to use rubrics and repertory and and how those can help you basically find a remedy to then read about in the Materia Medica. So I think we all get so excited about the remedies, and I know I do. I love Materia Medica, but learning those skills on how you can translate that old language into what the client or the patient's saying is just really helpful to be able to narrow down the remedy choice. So I think Similia has done such a fantastic job of kind of bridging that gap between the 200-year-old language and what we have today, to be able to do that more efficiently. I know that I go to Similia all the time now because it's just quicker. I can just type it in how I'm thinking it instead of, what did they mean by that word? But, we still have those old, people are working from books and they're still using the old language. And so I think, just understanding like how do you take a repertory book and then use it to your advantage to find out what remedies you might need. So yeah, lots of things in the works for Rubric Wise. We're really excited. And I always, as you know, appreciate all the collaboration that we have with Similia. Yeah, it's been wonderful to see your journey and see how you've been growing and developing all these tools. So I hope that we continue to collaborate and that yeah, I'm excited to bring some news about what's going on in the future. So
Yeah, sounds really exciting. And yeah, I think you're doing a really important and amazing work.
yeah, thank you.
Because I don't know like what is your experience, but with the the colleges I have experience with, I feel that there is really not enough education on the whole like repertorization, like as much in depth as you go, for example,
Mm.
and which is one of the most important aspect. And so yeah, bridging that gap,
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
Well, and I think there's so much to learn at homeopathy school. I mean, I went for 4 years and, I was learning continuously in that 4 years and just trying to absorb it all. And there's so much to learn about, how to manage a case and materia medica and just, the philosophy and principles of the whole thing that, you can spend some time on repertory, but until you actually get in there and start looking for rubrics and, every repertory is a little bit different in the way it's laid out. And, there's just so much to learn that you can never fit it all in that, 2 or 4 year program. And also you forget, unless you're actually doing a case. And then at the time, one of the biggest questions that I would always get is, how do you even find this rubric or which chapter is it in? And, what tool should I use and which is the best repertory and which is the best book. And, so those are the questions that I was getting all the time. And that's why I set up Rubric Wise. But admittedly, I also wanted to, I didn't want to, when I left school, I didn't want to just forget all about my, learning. I wanted to hold myself accountable to like, well, how do you study repertory and how do you figure out what this mind symptom means? Or, when should you use a general versus when should you use a particular? And, there's so much to it. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed the journey of growth and just learning for myself as I go. Um, but yeah, and I think for anybody who's new into homeopathy, which there are so many people now that are coming into homeopathy, it's just a good way to get exposure really into the repertory and seeing how we can use it to help our cases. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
great
great.
work.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll chat again in the future. I know that you've got a lot in the works, so every day I'm always looking and seeing what's going on at Similia now. So yeah, it's been really fantastic to see how it's grown, and I think you've done a wonderful service to the homeopathic community. So
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Leah.
Marco. All
Pleasure as
right.
always.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
so just a reminder, so they can download from the App Store for the Home Prescriber. There's a 7-day free trial with the Wise 7, and then after that they can subscribe if they choose to subscribe on a monthly basis. And then, oh, one thing I meant to ask you is the app available offline or is it online only?
It is online only.
Okay, so they need an internet connection. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, that's a good point. Okay, awesome. All right, good to see you. Take
my
care.
pleasure. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.